Hello my friends. Today, December the 16th, a couple of days following the Sandy Hook Elementary massacre of 20 children and 6 adults, the world is still in pain, and so am I. We are trying to understand what really happened on this day. And guess what? I do have the answers. Being French, I'm having a little bit of difficulties sometimes to express myself. So, what I'd like you to do when you got a chance, gotta go to drturi.com and right at the top of my website, you will see a yellow banner saying Dragon Newsletter Archives. All you gotta do is to click on this link, and that's gonna lead you to the latest newsletters that I wrote. The last one that I wrote is called Neuroscience, Long for Answers of the Mind. And I was able to pass on this information much better than what I can express myself as I share my emotions with you on such a dramatic days for the United States and for the world at large. 20 innocent children and 6 adults have lost their lives. And our infantile science is still wondering of the reasons behind this drama. And when I say I have the answer, please do not think I am on an ego trip here, because I'm sharing my passion, my pain and my wisdom with you. So you don't want to take my comment, my claims as unfounded if you do not do your homework and go to my website and read my latest newsletter involving neuroscience, longing for the answers of what it means to be human, and probably will never ever get the keys unless they understand what I'm going to tell you today. For those who knows me, there is not much explanation. Dr. Turi's well-documented, dated, printed predictions are simply unarguable. These are the people who have done the mental gymnastics. They've done the work to understand who I am and where I am coming from. If you're a newcomer and you never heard of me, all you can do is to assume. And that is the last thing you've got to do. Don't do that for yourself. Don't do that for the children. Don't do that for the world. You know, Einstein said once, it's a miracle that curiosity survived education. And that is what is missing in this world, because science has lost the spirit. That's what it comes down to it. I was talking about predictions. Well, guess what? On November 24th, a few weeks ago, I put a reminder on many of my friends on Facebook's pages about the Scorpius Dragon arrival last August 20th, 2012, which is going to plague the world for the next 16 or 17 months ahead of us. In this newsletter, Scorpius Dragon has arrived. You can Google that. Scorpius Dragon has arrived, and at the end put Dr. Turi, Dr.Turi. You're gonna get millions of hits. But in that specific warning, I prepare and give the exact date of all the latest drama that has plagued this world including the Newtown, Connecticut massacre of those 20 children and 6 adults. Now, to be rewarded, of course, my friends who do, well, I thought were my friends who do suffer inferiority or insecurity complexes, just kick my butt out of their pages. And you know what? This is life. But I'm still wondering what and how do they think today, right now, knowing that on November 24th I wrote a quatrain, an obvious quatrain, and very obvious keywords depicting the terrible Scorpio's energy that was going to take away so many people in terms of suicide, in terms of murder, in terms of the news that are constantly plaguing the page of CNN. How do they feel now? Would they still think, he's an egocentric and he doesn't know what he's talking about? Or did they learn something and not to never assume, instead pay attention when I'm offering my warning about death, drama, large earthquakes? Because the sad reality, if you don't know me, you're going to find out that I'm very real. I am gifted. A gift that I perceive now and then as a curse, especially dealing with science. Now, in the wake of this massacre, the first thing you're going to do, like everybody else, is to blame Adam Lanza, the 22-year-old lost soul who killed those kids and those adults. Don't do that. Remember, in the eternal battle between emotions, in this case, very deep emotions are running, and logic, emotion will always win. Your emotional side will blur your psyche. It's just the way it is. It is the way human operates. Don't do that. In fact, not only Adam Lanza or Jacob Tyler or every single criminals of the past and those of the future are nothing else than victims of education and victims of science. Let me explain. You know, when I wrote in many of my newsletters my feelings, it translates with a phrase, a quote from the Dalai Lama. The Dalai Lama wrote, "If every year-old in the world is taught meditation, we will eliminate violence from the world within one generation." And that is beautiful. But as you know, meditation and love alone will never ever fix this world. So many prophets have tried. Look at the state of this world. It's miserable. It's becoming dangerous by the second. You cannot even send your kids to school anymore, for God's sake. So I added, if every year-old in the world is taught astropsychology and meditation, we will eliminate ignorance and violence from the world within a single generation, right? But that is a big problem, because knowing 99.09% of the world, the majority of you watching me today, are cosmic unconscious. Where do I start? You know, there is no wondering. There is no doubt for any of my students who took the time to digest 6 or 7 hours a day for a full week astropsychology and became cosmic conscious at the end. But for you, where do I start? For the scientific community, where do I start? What are the words that I need to make you aware that you cannot separate the physic and the spirit? And because you do not see the spirit, it certainly does not mean it does not exist. And that is the problem. To enter the archetypal realm of consciousness, or the intuitional domain of my work, one needs a very advanced, highly spiritual UCI. UCI stands for Unique Celestial Identity. And that is the makeup of the stars, the set of stars you inherited at the first moment you took your first breath. A UCI is a snapshot of the planet above your head that interacts with your psyche and gives you, by the order of God, by the order of the divine, through the sign, the 12 apostles and the 12 signs of the zodiac, the 12 of the day, the 12 months of the year, the 12 apostles, the 12 signs, the 12 jury, the 12, in the year 2012, or the 12 jury for that matter again. That is a regulation. Now, the skeptic, the agnostic, the scientist, logical, born young soul cannot enter the intuitional domain of my work. Inbred scientists, architects, mathematicians, logistics, mechanics, and they are very unfit to see the other side of my hand because they cannot touch, they cannot see, it doesn't exist. Well, I got news for you. First, there is a big, huge difference between education and intelligence. And secondly, those stars are much more than dead rock hanging above your head for the sake of beauty. In fact, God gave us human the heavens and the stars for interpretations, so that through the signs you can lead a much safer and productive life. You know, my mission to free humanity from fear and ignorance in times like now, it's a true curse. It's heavy because I know that it's fine, it's okay, it's all right to teach the children geography, algebra, science, history. That is wonderful. They need that in order to lead themselves into a solid career and be respected because of their accomplishment, and even own a Nobel Prize. But where is the teacher that will educate those children of their celestial identities? Where are the schoolmasters, cosmic conscious schoolmasters, that understand that this particular generation, especially the Death Wish generation and the Baby Busters generation that I wrote in my book, The Power of the Dragon, are unfit to deal with archaic religious poisoning. They need the facts. If you do not give them the facts, the spirits will deteriorate. They can only regenerate with highly spiritual, metaphysical information. Thus, astropsychology, or what I teach, becomes a major contribution for regenerating the spirits of all those lost children. But since childhood, your parents, your grandparents, have been programmed by fears not to touch metaphysics, it's evil. guess what? There is no hell. You're already in hell, in your ignorance and your fears. And your children will follow your footsteps, at least for a certain time, because you are their first teachers. They will go to church. They will deal with religion. But my God, it's temporarily. Those generations do not regenerate with bull, period. Know that God and Jesus do not exist. Oh, far from that. Far from that. Those three wise men following the stars to the birth of Christ were astrologers and taught our Savior the cosmic code jurisdictions. And through the 12 apostles, or the 12 signs of the zodiac, the soul of supreme wisdom, comes the sign and the glory and the divinity found in the celestial mechanic created by God Himself. Those children need the hard facts. You need to give them the spiritual food they need. All children have been blessed with emotion, with passion, with gift. There is no school that produced Einstein. There is no school that produced Michelangelo, George Washington, or Mozart or Beethoven in terms of talking of the arts. They all had a gift. And because of the environment, the situation, the experience, the parent guidance or not, they still manage to make history. Well, many young mothers don't want to be mothers, and they trust science and turn their ADD child. Einstein was ADD, Clinton was ADD, Dr. Turi is ADHD. You're turning your child into a zombie. You're neutralizing his power to reach the level of a genius by trusting your science and stuffing your kids with poisonous chemicals. Don't you realize the damage that's done? Look at what's going on with autism. The very essence, the very spiritual and physical DNA of humanity is decaying so fast. Those children that could work and do miracle in servicing the world through the design of the cosmic code in God's will are not allowed to apply their will. They become robots of their stars. They cannot apply their will because they don't know. They do not know, and nobody is there to teach them. The power of God is much stronger in every human being than the nettle, the hidden dragon, the moon, Mercury, Jupiter, and Saturn afflicting the psyche of those children. But again, science will say, are you joking? You pseudoscience? The moon is now affecting the mind. Yes, my friend, the moon is affecting your mind. That's why subconsciously we have created the word lunatic, moody, and crabby, and it seems to be a fact. In time of a full moon, people and emergency service are going insane. Is that so difficult to understand and to accept as reality, Mr. Educated Scientists? It saddened me so much. It saddened me so much to know that those 20 children have lost their lives because science and our society is creating monsters every single day. In order to survive, you need to eat, you need protein, you need water, You need exercise. That is for the physical body. Your spirit needs as much, if not more, spiritual food. What are you giving them? The manipulated, translated verses of the Bible or the Quran? Doesn't work. That works for you, for your grandparents, for your older generation. Those kids are from different generation. They're computerized very differently than you are. You know, when I teach my perception of the human psyche and the brain, a lot of people have some problem here. Let me try again. Your brain is nothing else than a computer which is reacting to the outside mind. Your brain is no different than mine. A killer, Einstein, Michelangelo for that matter, same size, same weight, same configuration. Most of the time, unless he's diseased. And there is no difference. What's different is the UCI, or the unique celestial identity of what scientists perceive as dark matter. Cosmic unconscious astronomers have downgraded the planet Pluto to a dwarf little thing. Pluto is pissed off. Pluto in Greek mythology is the lord of Hades, the lord of hell. It regulates the police force, the FBI, the CIA, the criminal element, the mob, sex. It's a very powerful planet. It is the farthest, it is the smallest, but it is the most powerful planet. And if you dig into my work, and go and read my newsletters, go and read the warnings that I wrote November 24th with the quatrains and the keywords, you will realize that all that had transpired actually suddenly enough took place, regardless of my warnings. Knowledge is power, ignorance is evil. There is so much you have to learn. But Dr. Turi is perceived as Mrs. Kyle by those educated scientists who assume that I am promoting a pseudoscience when I actually own the golden keys of what it means to be human. If they could put their educated, egocentric, spiritual pride on the side, chances are they would gain something from Dr. Turi, right? They would gain something from Dr. Turi, you bet they would. But this might happen when the pigs start to fly. Guess what? I took the time to search on the internet the top neuroscientists in the world that are producing conferences and events in different parts of the United States and the world, talking about, you know, the human mind and their wisdom, okay? Their accepted discipline, which seems to be the only real discipline. 20 of them, I put them in my blacklist made of cops, FBI agents, CIA agent, NASA student, teachers, member of the government, media personality, of course, including my friend George Norrie. But they've read everything, and they are the experts. Wouldn't you expect that they would give me a chance, or at least Say, well, let's listen to Dr. Turi. Maybe he has something for us. If he can save one single life, it's worth it. But no, oh no. Dr. Turi is not one of us. He is not a doctor. Is that why I teach who is who in America? This is why I teach MDs, PhDs, leather cancers, reconstructive surgery, doctors and professors. They don't know that. They assume, oh, it's an astrologer. I am much more practical and logical than what they can ever be. Maybe they don't know that I use a software that plot the planets, that give me a real map of understanding the human psyche with all its shortcomings and all its gifts, physically and spiritually. I'm so ahead of time. Yes. But it seems when a real genius appears, that's when you have everyone shutting down the doors. Now, if you have an inferiority or an insecurity complex, you're probably to think, oh my gosh, this guy is the most egocentric man I have ever heard on YouTube. And you will do yourself such a disfavor because you have not yet investigated me. Do the mental gymnastic that require you to understand and accept that I know a little bit more than our current infantile science. So who is responsible? Who is responsible for the death of these 20 children? Who is responsible for the death of these 6 adults? Who is responsible for all the death of the past and all the death of the future? I'm telling you, responsible. Science and the educational system, because they all are stuck in the box, not realizing there is a big difference again between education and intelligence or a gift. I am not being an egocentric here. I'm sharing my passion to discuss the truth, the inner connection, the inner relationship between the human mind and the universal mind. I cannot blame all these scientists and education when you look at it, because who was there to teach them in the first place? But I'm here. Why don't they give you a chance? Now, do you think building walls like this, having the latest technology in every single school is the right thing to do? Do you think building jails or building a church is the right thing to do? Or sports buildings? No, no. This is not how you are going to save the children of your future, slaughtering each other's. But by reintegrating the therapeutic values of astropsychology, depicting the celestial cosmic will of our Creator, God. Humanity and science thought they knew better, and they start applying science and become a bunch of agnostics, skeptics, educated scientists, atheists, not able to even auto-analyze themselves and realizing they are from a specific rational, logical generation that make them who they are. But they can only see reality through their experiences, their education, their upbringing, their lives, their conceptions of reality, and most of all, through their UCI, or unique celestial identity, which in itself has all the answers. All the scientists are enslaved to find for the well-being of humanity at large. One single word. The golden keys of what it means to be human is offered to them through me. Why don't they give me a chance? That's all I asked since 1991. Not only to the scientific community, but to the police, for God's sake. I do have police chiefs. I do have the United States Secret Service on my list. Do you think any one of them went to drturi.com and read what their police officers, their scared police officers are saying to me? Little do they know, little do they know, the Homeland Security is ruled and controlled by Pluto, the planet of death and drama, that also rules the criminal world. And those cops are going home. The lucky one, the unlucky one are already dead, and many more are on the way. When they can use my methodology, the software in their car, and know beforehand if they're dealing with a plutonic soul that will not hesitate to kill them, or somebody who is sensible. Guns don't kill children. I have guns, many guns. I never kill any kid with. In China, another 20 or so kids were killed with a knife. This kid could have just run with his car, for that matter, and kill all these kids with his car. He could have poisoned those kids. God knows what he could have done through his lost spirit. Don't blame the guns. Don't take America's freedom away. For if your government gets out of hand, how are you going to fight? Are you going to take a shovel to fight AK-41? Machine gun? What are you going to use? Sling? Use common sense. Don't give power when it's not needed. You cannot change this world with love and meditation alone. But you can significantly, drastically improve our safety with education, but the right type of education. Do you have any idea how many children drop out of college and university every day in this country? Oh my gosh, this is insane. And now do you think the elite of the educational system, by firing more and more poor teachers that are committed, do you think that's going to fix the situation? Do you think that's the right course of action? No. You know, this generation, the baby bastard generation that are born critical, atheists, agnostics, skeptics, scientists, these generations are kids. I'm 63 years old. I'm only a very different type of scientist. And you cannot, absolutely not, waste the lives of all those children. Okay? You cannot do that to yourself, to your kids, to your future, to your family, to your friends. I see those children as victims first. I see those children as mothers. I see those children as beautiful human beings that life will snaps away in a second. I see those kids as beautiful human beings, and my heart goes to them and their families. But please do not waste their sacrifice. Do not waste their sacrifice. Because it is a sacrifice for you, for humanity, so that you can start to think in a different way and make the right change with the right type of highly spiritual information they so desperately need. They need to know who they are. Who cares about geometry and anything else? Who cares about history? Who cares about the art? I want to know who I am, where I'm going, where I'm coming from. And all they know, they're going to go to hell. Is that what you teach them? Don't you think it's time for you to become a grown, educated, smart parent instead of poisoning the psyche of your fragile children with bullshit? Again, I'm so passionate, and because I'm real. This is the core of my mission. This is the core of my heart. Children, anything happen to a child, I go insane. And that's where I need your help. Crying and praying is beautiful. It's a human reaction. It ain't gonna fix the problem, people. It ain't gonna fix the problem. I've got so much work to do. And you start by putting the educated ego of those scientists in the back pocket and force them to realize it is not by poisoning our children with chemicals to benefit the pharmaceutical industry and corporations, okay, that we are going to fix the problem. I'm here. I'm Dr. Cherry. If you don't know me, please go and read my newsletters. I can only express myself so much being French. But my gift is real. And right now it is a real curse because I can't go through you. Because you assume. Or you'd rather watch television. Or watch the Kardashian. Or a football match. Nothing wrong with all that. I love boxing. I love boating. I love fishing. I love nature. I love my pets. I love my wife. I love it all. But when it comes to children, that should be your priority. Because the very child that you're raising today, which is 5 or 6 years old, might turn exactly like Adam Lanza or Jacob Tyler if you do not get my message. Is that serious enough, people? Then if it is, help me. Because when I see my first astropsychological school being operational, I know, this wave of evil, this wave of ignorance and fear will be at the end. And what I see for the future of humanity and the children of tomorrow is nothing else than love, respect, understanding, and the recognition of God in the heavens, speaking His celestial will, affecting the fate of every single human being on this earth. May God bless all of you, and may God bless all the victims of all the lost souls that ever lived and will ever live in this world.